And before we left, we were speaking with Anthony in Washington, D.C., and he was talking about hip-hop. Somebody just sent me a report that last year Kanye West was Forbes' highest-paid act in hip-hop. That's for 2019. Kanye West. Is that a problem for us, looking at the culture that he subscribes to? We know he's a Trumpster. We know he's in interracial marriage, and now he's off into the religion. Is that a major problem for us, or should we just, do you think our young people, let me put it another way, do you think our young people want to be like Kanye?
I think, yes, and I think that our young people understand that money is equated with success in this society. So they want to be successful, they want to make a lot of money, and the model that he offers and puts forward is one that is, in quote, successful. In other words, it makes a lot of money. That's what we get. That's part of the culture that we live in. The culture that we live in glorifies money. If you're wealthy, then you're successful. You can't be successful unless you have a lot of money. So yes, Kanye is an example of a particularly backward brother who feels that, way down deep inside that, his culture is not worth adhering to, respecting, following, connecting with, with the obvious results. Yes, obviously, Kanye West is an example of a backward brother in most arenas. Maybe not all, but most.
But how can you say that when you look at his portfolio has been diversified now? In addition to music and concerts, he's selling those sneakers, and they said they $1.5 billion in sales last year, and that's what put him over the top as the highest earning hip hop act for 2019. Shouldn't that be something that the young people say, hey, if he's making money like that, maybe something that I should do, make some more money like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's part of the game, Carl. Part of the game is to define success on those terms. A brother just left here the other day who was aspiring to be a videographer, and we were talking about what it might take, and I gave him some ideas about how he might do this, that, and the other. He said, one day I'll be successful, I'll make a life, and hopefully I'll make a... And I said to him, brother, do not equate your success with just money. Don't do that, because if you do that, then, you'll lose your integrity. You'll lose your sense of direction. You'll lose your connection with what it is you're trying to achieve. You'll lose everything when you do that. But, it's hard to tell young people, see people who are poor, that money won't solve their problems. They know money will solve some of their problems. Let me
put it another way then. Let me phrase it another way. And Bob in Philly, we'll get to you in a second. Let me put it another way. If Kanye was not who he is, and he embraced Minister Farrakhan, which he did at one time, and he was singing, doing stuff like what Public Enemy was putting out, do you think he'd still be the highest earning hip-hop act for 2019?
No, absolutely not. The people who control that are not him. He's playing to the master. He's giving them what they want. He's not giving them what we need. Until we define his success as him giving us what we need as a people to be stronger, to be more united, to be, we opportunists are abound in our community. Because being an opportunist, being for yourself, abandoning your people is a model for success. It is a model for success that society has encouraged. And we need to not only stop encouraging, and part of that is encouraging the notion that money is going to solve our problems, because money ain't going to solve our problems. Having a strong culture, identifying with each other, working together to achieve collectively, not advances individually, will solve our problem. We have more rich people now than we've ever had, but our people are in poorer shape than they've been in a long time. So money won't solve our problems. It just won't do it. So we have to get away from the notion that money is success. We must abandon that. Now, that's not to say we don't need a certain amount of money to live off of, but what we don't need is young people pursuing the goal of becoming rich and wealthy and famous. We don't need that. That sets us back. That damages us. That destroys our capacity as a people to rise together, to conquer and work together, to be who we are, communal Africans, communal people who work together to achieve something in concert with one another, not in opposition.
All right. As I mentioned, Bob in Philly's been holding for us. He's on line 3. Bob, you're on with Baba Lumumba. Bob, you got to listen on the phone because we're on a delay system here. We hear the radio playing in the background. So we'll come back to you when he understands that you can't listen on. You got to listen on, use the phone because we have a delay system. 800-450-7876. But Baba Lumumba, can you be successful though if you are? Let's see if you're a Public Enemy type of brother out there in the rap game. Can you make it? Can you throw up a fist and make it, or do you need to make it? Depending on how you
used to be able
define
to
make it. Yeah,
you used to be able to, but the game has changed recently. There's much more active part on the part of the powers to be to reinforce the most negative aspects of our community. That has changed recently. What's being reinforced is those people who abandon us, those people who operate against us. That's what's being reinforced. What's being reinforced is if you go out and find yourself a white person to marry, that's being reinforced. If you end up promoting homosexuality, or you end up promoting the negative forces, that's being reinforced. But that will destroy us as a people. That will undermine us. All that stuff has to be, abandoned and fought against. And we fight it against no matter what the cost is. You have to fight against it. We fight against that by developing our own culture, developing our own identity, developing our own framework. And it's critical now. If we continue to follow this society, which is in the state of self-destruction, this society is not only destroying itself, it's destroying the entire world in which we live here. I don't know if anybody saw that.
Let me jump here and interrupt you again. Should we create a new culture, an African-American culture, or should some people want to do? Or should we, because you're saying obviously the white culture is not for us, and we get that. And some people can't identify with an African culture because they're still holding on to the red, white, and blue. Should we then create a sort of a co-opted culture so that our people who were born here
we need to go back and look at the culture that we were taken from, that was stripped from us. That's step number one. We've done that. A lot of people have done that. You can go back and look at, Chikanta Diop's work, and you can look at Chancellor Williams' work, and you can look at Dr. Ben's work, and you can look at Marimba Ani's work, and you can look at people who have gone back and looked at it not only in terms of each individual tribe, but looked at in terms of their connection. What are the values that Egyptians had, that people in Yoruba had? What are the values that represent the essence of who black people are? Who are we as a people? So, we can bring together a composite, and we're kind of doing that at this point. I use Kwanzaa as an example all the time because that's what Kwanzaa tries to do, and does to a great extent, does that successfully. It looks at these 7 principles, but it roots those 7 principles in the idea of the way black Africans, because, at this point, you've got to talk about both. You got to be, it's not all Africans, because at this point you have Arab Africa, you have settler colony Africa, you have a lot of people who don't fit into the black paradigm, don't fit into the notion of black people, black Africans. Because we know that black Africans are the first human beings. When you talk about modern humanity, that's African. That's black African. We know that we traveled around the world and became other people. There's another interesting story. We don't have time to talk about it now. This whole idea whether there's such a thing as race. Well, yeah, human beings are divided into groups. Now, how those came about and what they constitute is another matter. We know that Europeans who were once Africans, black Africans, were turned into Europeans. In other words, they got straightened hair and light skin and a particular attitude about life. turned around and attacked Africa again and attacked much of the world. We know that fundamentally those people initially were Africans, who became something else, became Europeans, became aggressive, became the Donald Trumps of the world, became the Jeff Bezos of the world, became those people who have infected the world with this attitude. And I would say this, Carl, that particular attitude that we're talking about, that we fight against, is one of insecurity. What white people have essentially done is felt that they were so insecure that they had to control everything in the world, which meant us and all the rest of the world. That insecurity that they got, we have to ask ourselves the question, how did that develop? Where did that come from? Why did those people feel that the only way they can be secure is to control everything in the world, is to control nature itself? Because their attempts at controlling nature has what caused this global warming crisis. That's what caused the problem. Their incompatibility with nature itself, their desire to control nature, which is the same desire they had to control us. And then after they controlled us, they abused us. They used us and they enslaved us. They robbed us of our culture because they didn't feel secure unless we were subservient to them. And they did that to the entire earth, not only other people, but the earth itself. And what results now is a situation in which the earth itself is threatened. The demise of the earth is really very, very near because of this process, because of these people.
Hold that thought right there, and we'll talk about that on the other side. We got to take a short break. Folks, you want to join us? 800-450-7876 to speak to Baba Lumumba. We'll take your calls after the short break on 1450 WOL, where information is power.